furious rage. In that furious rage, when the goddess set out to slay Mahishasura, the anger she felt just by hearing the words he spoke to her, that is what I am talking about. She got so angry, the heroic rasa she displayed while taking up all her arms and fighting him. After this heroic rasa, the peaceful rasa, they showed the goddess sitting all alone on the stage so very peacefully. It was really good, because that is no ordinary process at all. Especially in the battle between Mahishasura and Parvati, when she shot an arrow, it was like he just casually brushed it aside. When he struck with his trident, the mace went flying to a corner, landing out of the way so it would not block them, and he hit it so that no one even needed to run and pick it up at all. Using the available stage so beautifully, like when the arrow was thrown, he went to that corner, caught it and tossed it away. How well they used the stage is a crowning achievement for the talent of those dancers who performed. Especially Mahishasura. When someone like Shobha Naidu Garu expresses the romantic rasa, even Shiva is stunned. But seeing Mahishasura perform so wildly, I was truly amazed by it. Oh, he would cross the stage from one end to the other in just 4 strides. With those horns, he really ran like a demon, even kicking and knocking over the lamp. After performing so grandly, he finally stabbed with the trident and fell in the middle of the stage. While the Mahishasura Mardini chant, Ayagiri Nandini, Nandita Medini, Vishwa Vinodini, Nandinute was playing and flowers were showered. She was swaying with heroic energy and fierce rage. And then, as the mother who was calmed by the sage's hymns, she sat on the stage in a state of peace, concluding with the goddess, and they brilliantly portrayed all the 9 rasas. But I must mention one thing. No one says that there is no peace in the goddess, or that peace is not a rasa, or that peace should not be there, or that the goddess should not express the rasa of peace. But they say the goddess should not be described by the rasa of peace. That is because she has a specific nature. The goddess is the embodiment of energy. Energy is always moving. When all movements are stilled, and there is no emotional outburst, that is the sign of peace. That is why if there is peace, everything exists. Without peace, nothing exists. So Shiva stays calm, absorbed in his own self. But the goddess is always in motion. If she ever sits in a state of absolute peace, she becomes Shiva. Then who else would be there to move him? Shiva Shakya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shakta Pravaitum. For him to move and become Kameshwara, she must keep moving. That is why when it comes to the goddess, they do not end with the Shanta Rasa. They end with Vatsalya Rasa. Since she is the mother of the universe, Drisha Drabiyasya Dara Dalita Nilotpala Rucha Gaviyam Sam Dinam Smabaya Kapaya Ropi Shiv, as Adi Shankaracharya says. She treats us like her children and showers us with motherly love. Since she is the mother of all creation, from Brahma to a tiny insect, they end with Vatsalya Rasa. I am not saying she should not be in Shantarasa. I am just talking about the scriptural tradition. Now, I will say one last thing and finish my speech. It was named Navarasa Nata Bhamini, but they do not use the term Navarasa Nata Bhamini. They say it should not be used for the goddess. Because the word Bhamini, scriptures specifically forbid using it for the goddess, who is the form of Jagadamba. Because in Sanskrit, for when and why any word should be used, the Supreme Court is the Amarakosha. There is no Supreme Court beyond the Amarakosha. They rely solely on the Amarakosha. The Amarakosha gave the derivation for the word Bhamini. Having immense anger as her nature, a woman who can only express related emotions because of her angry nature is called a Bhamini. But if she is a woman who can nurture other emotions besides having an angry nature, they say she should not be called by the name Bhamini. Now, if you want to show humor in goddess Parvati, if she is a Bhamini, she will definitely rebel. If you say anything to her, even for humor, if you say something with a betel leaf, she will reply with a door plank. So romantic and humorous sentiments will not work immediately. Therefore, using the term Navarasana Bhamini as a scientific application, in the 41st verse, in the verse Mahi Muladhari, when showing the goddess where the 9 sentiments are manifested, he mentioned what name she should be called by. He said she should be called Navarasa Mahatandava Nati. That is why that is the name. Now, I do not have enough time to comment on why they say it like that. I am not saying it is wrong, but it is just not acceptable according to the scriptures. She is a very cultured mother, an internationally renowned mother, and a great scholar. She is a talented person who can write on her own, possesses extreme devotion, and especially has great devotion to her guru. Because Koteswara Rao Garu gave me the freedom to suggest any changes that might be needed in that. I said that the phrase Navarasanata Bhamini is not used scientifically, and instead we should adopt what Shankara Bhagavatpada has said. That would be perfectly scientific, and the goddess would also be very pleased, saying this, for such a great dance program that we were lucky enough to witness during these Vasanta Navaratri celebrations. I express my gratitude on behalf of all of us to Subba Rao Garu, who personally made this possible for us by providing us with such a magnificent dance performance, dancing here on one side, making announcements there, giving commentary, instructing all the disciples, and introducing the characters, while arranging all these things and even listening to the words of an ignorant person like me with such humility and generosity to that mother's glory, to Padmasri Dr. Sobanaidu Garu, who came as an incarnation of Nataraja on behalf of all the people of Kovada and Kakinada. I sincerely, since you give me that elder status, I am taking the liberty to express my heartfelt gratitude and tributes to her today. They are called divine incarnations. It is actually impossible to even act like them. These divine beings even play marbles with children, and their gestures are just wonderful. Now she's all about Sai and everything she does, and she is going to perform that wonderful and magnificent dance program for us. Once again, as Pathana said, drinking in the form of the Lord with one's eyes, being overwhelmed with joy, one sense doing the work of another sense. Let us drink with our eyes what should be drunk with the mouth. Let us drink with our ears. Please be prepared for that. Today, setting aside the Bhagavad Gita on the occasion of such a great dance program taking place, taking a bird's eye view of it and using today's lecture as an opportunity to express my gratitude. Please forgive me for not teaching the Bhagavad Gita today. Requesting you to do so. I am concluding this session here, and I inform you that Subba Rao Garu will start the next program now. Peace to all.
Hari Om. Greetings to this assembly, the embodiment of the Supreme Lord. While the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna Vishada Yoga, in the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga, and the third, Karma Yoga, and so on, the Supreme Soul has revealed many profound truths. In that, Sanatana Dharma has its own unique and special greatness. Whether it says to do this or not to do that, the reason behind both is exactly the same. What is the reason? It is for progress. They are directed for the progress of the living being. In this saying, do this is quite easy. Doing what you are told to do is also somewhat easy if the mind is determined. But when told, do not do this, for the person who just cannot stop themselves from doing it, if the scripture just stays quiet saying I can do nothing, then how will they ever progress? So, I must be able to show a path even to the one who cannot stop doing what I told them not to do. That is the very, very great thing about Sanatana Dharma. That is why the scriptures in the form of the Upanishads also provide a remedy for the things that a human being generally cannot stop doing. They explain it in the form of a teacher-student dialogue. When you look at other women, your mind is not staying still. Now what should you do? They do not say, I cannot do anything. Matruvat paradhareshu. They give an answer to that. When you look at other women, just see your mother in them. That is all. Once the connection of a mother is there is no room for lust. It is like sprinkling water on boiling milk. The surge cools down. Therefore, matruvat paradhareshu, he cannot stop himself from stealing. If you see something anywhere, you just want to make that wealth your own. Now, how do you change your mind like that? Treating others' wealth like stones. You see so many rocks when you are just walking along. Do you pick up those rocks, put them in your pocket and go home? You would say, why do I need this rock? When you see something that is not yours, something God has not given to you, the way you should look at it is that it is just a rock, and God did not give it to me. Since God did not give it to me, it is not mine, so I will not take it. If God wanted to give it to me, He would not give it like this. He would give it the right way. If you can feel that way, there will be no obsession. So, the Upanishad shows us so many solutions like these. Also, I have been telling you this for the past few days. Since it is just a week of speeches, I did not talk about any specific chapter because they would remain incomplete. Just 2 or 3 verses would be covered. If I start a specific chapter of the Bhagavad Gita and do not finish it, it feels a bit annoying. It is like those meaningless lectures. Reciting half shlokas and leaving is not good. I felt a bird's eye view would be better for us. I've been telling you one thing quite often and I keep repeating it. The body is different. The soul is different. The body falls away in time. The soul is not something that falls in time. It is the form of truth. It always exists. But the biggest problem is that no matter how many scriptures you study or how many lectures you give, it does not matter. It goes right back to the feeling that I am the body. Why does it stay like this? Why does it happen? It is not like this with other things in our lives. I put on clothes and I immediately accept the truth that I have put them on. I am no longer a bachelor. I am married. That is it. From that day on, I remember that I am a householder. I moved from being a householder to the forest dweller stage. Yes, I remember I am a forest dweller now. I do not really need to keep reminding myself. Did you eat or not? Yes, I did. I remember. But you are not the body. That you do not remember. I am the body. If I say I am the body, why is that not remembered? Why does it change like that? Why and when? Now, instead of the intellect going back and trying to examine the object within, why does it keep going back to the body? There is only one reason for this. We have habituated the mind to think like that for millions of lifetimes. Millions of lifetimes, not 1 or 2, but so many. There is a term in Vedanta for this too, called Atavidipu. Why does Ishvara cause the dissolution? To give some rest to the souls who are exhausted from being born and dying repeatedly. You should not think that there is no rebirth after the end of an era or dissolution. After the dissolution ends, there will be rebirth again in a new era. That too, based on their merits and demerits. Those who committed great sins in Kali Yuga will not be reborn in Krita Yuga. Vedanta says they will be reborn in Kali Yuga again. Until then, they just remain like that. So, when we look at this theory of reincarnation, because we have spent millions of lifetimes firmly believing the lie that I am this body, no matter how much you hear, it just pulls you back. So, what should we do to get closer to the truth? How can we actually reach the truth? How can the feeling that I am the soul within and not this body become firmly established? Well, he said one thing, Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Yogastha means you should be established in yoga, and Kuru means keep doing your karmani, your work. You should not stop working, but do it while being established in yoga. Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. O Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, without having any attachment, keep doing it. Siddhya, asiddhyo. whether you get the results you expected or not, samo bhutva, remain equal in both situations. If you can perform your actions like that, samatvam yoga uchayate. The beauty of this verse is that it starts by showing you how to begin, and then in the very last line it explains how to actually achieve that state. Starting with yogastha, he says, perform your actions while in yoga. Now, we might ask, what does it mean to be established in yoga? So, he answers that himself in the final line. Samatvam yoga uchayat. Samatvam, equanimity itself is called yoga. Now, I want you to try and observe one thing here very carefully. Yogastha kuru karmani. Perform your actions while in yoga. Now, by action, I am not talking about some big ritual or a small ritual. By action, I simply mean doing some kind of work. This work that you are doing could be something physical with the body, or it could be mental. Even if we cannot do it with the body, we are still doing certain things with our minds. So, in these two different ways of doing things, you find balance. Now, about the very idea of doing work, there is something we must observe carefully. When we study the Gita, doing a piece of work means you can do any work. Take me, for example, I could give a lecture, or I could stop lecturing and just sit at home. I could stop sitting at home and wander the streets, or stop wandering the streets and sit in a movie theater. Did the Lord of the Gita ever say, do only this work? Is there anything in there that says you must keep doing this specific task? Whatever work you do, he said, yogastha kuru karmani, or perform your actions while established in yoga. If you are told to act while in yoga, does it mean watching a movie while in yoga? Or can I be in yoga while walking on the road? If you ask that, there is one thing that you must always keep in your mind. Suppose someone asks if you have eaten, say, around 2 p.m., what they actually mean is, have you had your rice? It does not mean did you eat a fruit or a vegetable. When they ask if you have eaten, it means, have you finished your meal? The meaning of the phrase, kuru karmani, is simply to accept and follow the varna ashrama dharma. That is all it means. According to the heart of Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada. That is the commentary. You do not need to think of it in any other way. Yogastha kuru karmani means following varna ashrama dharma exactly as the Vedas have prescribed. There is no other word for it. Whenever we speak about dharma, we are always speaking about varna ashrama dharma. Now, a varna has a dharma, either by birth or by the actions one performs. The second thing is what we call ashrama dharma. Depending on which ashrama you are in, you have to work accordingly. But you see, you should never do any work that is different from the stage of life you are currently in. That is the rule. For example, when I use the word ashrama, there are always 4 such stages of life. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. Every person takes up these 4 if their lifespan allows it, or even if they do not go all the way to sannyasa, just to attain that maturity, just for that kind of practice, with a sense of full maturity, one uses human life, as the scriptures teach us. Now, brahmacharya is one such stage. Now, what is the duty to be performed in this brahmacharya? It is not for me to say, nor for you to say. If you say it, it is not the standard, and if I say it, it is not the standard. No matter who says it, it is not the standard. And that is why there is no such thing in the scriptures as saying that no rules apply to you. The idea that no rules apply is condemned in the scriptures. That concept does not exist in Sanatana Dharma. Tell me how you would live your life without any rules applying to you. We have come here to this gathering.
Sit like that, man. Is there a rule for that?
Important people should sit in the front. Is there a rule for that? Women should sit like that. Is there a rule? Make some applause. Are you stating a rule? The speaker must sit on the stage. Are you stating a rule? If you hold meetings for 6 or 7 days and you set all these rules for yourselves, when God has given you a human body and the chance to live your life, how can you judge that God told you to live without following any rules at all? Even if you say so, it is against the Vedas. It is not Vedic, and the scriptures do not accept it. One attains progress through it. It is my choice, sir. I will do as I please. You try and run the assembly, I will see. You cannot run it. An assembly has rules. Studying also has a rule. Suppose I am studying in the 3rd grade. If I want to go from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade, I must study what is required in the 3rd grade and pass the exam. If I say, sir, the 2nd grade books are good, I will study the 2nd grade, then I will not move from the 3rd grade to the 4th grade. If I say I understand the 4th grade stuff, so I will not study the 3rd grade, even then I will not go to the 4th grade. You should not do what is above you. You should not do what is below you. You must do exactly what you are directed to do. I know everything. I will write like this only. That will not work. I once saw a surprising thing. 2 people wrote equally well. A gold medal had to be given in a school. Both wrote equally. Both got equal marks. 99 out of 100. 99. They asked who should be given the gold medal. Answer any 5 of the following questions. Suppose they say to answer 5 of the questions given below. Now, in that same time, one person answered 6 of them really well. Another person answered 5 of them really well. Now, marks must be given for only 5 for him, and marks must be given for only 5 for this person too. They will not give marks just because he wrote 6, right? They only give marks for 5 questions. Both of them got 99 and 99. Now, what should be done? Who should get the gold medal? So, if it says answer any 5 of the following, give the gold medal to whoever wrote only 5. Because he followed the rule. Write 5 and he wrote 5. Who told you to write 6 when asked for 5, even if you had the time? He violated the rule, so you should not get the gold medal. Because he does not have the quality of sticking to the rules, they disqualified him. They disqualified him and announced it publicly, saying he should have gotten it. But he broke the rule. So they gave it to the one who wrote 5 questions. We cannot say no to it. That is all. God has established the law. Because he established the law, he gave us the Veda. If there was no Veda, we could say there is no law. But when the Veda exists, who are you or who am I to say there is no law? Even if we sit down to say that, we would just be the one saying something wrong. But what we say is not the truth, and the scripture will not accept it at all. Whatever the scripture has said, that scripture is the authority. Who are you or who am I to give authority? We ourselves are not the authority. So, the meaning of the words Yogasthat Kuru Karmani is, when it says you do your duty, it is implied that you should do it as the Veda says, according to your stage of life. That is all. No need to explain it so much again. The one who is saying it is God himself. He is standing and speaking as a guru. So, by doing what will you get closer to liberation? By doing what will you gain commitment to the truth and reality? And gain purity of mind? In performing action, you will attain yoga. That means Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Suppose you are a celibate student, you only need to follow the specific rules and regulations that are prescribed for a brahmachari. Suppose a brahmachari follows the rules that are meant for a householder instead, then he is not performing the duty he is supposed to, and he will not be able to progress because of that. A person who is living as a brahmachari should not chew betel leaves. A brahmachari should respect his guru, study whatever he is required to study, and try to gain as much knowledge as he possibly can to attain wisdom. A brahmachari should focus more on eating pure food rather than being interested in the taste of it. Suppose a father and a son are living together in a house. If one has to say that they should fast on Ekadashi, the Dharma Shastra asks if the child should be told to fast too. And it says no. According to the Shastra, a child should not be told to fast on Ekadashi. The reason is that as a brahmachari, if he eats to his heart's content, the resulting energy will support him in the work he needs to accomplish in the future. If you make him fast on Ekadashi while he is a student and leave him starving, if he fasts and his body becomes weak and frail, how will he even study? What knowledge will he gain? If he does not learn anything at all, how will he perform good deeds? To perform good deeds, he must study during his student years. So, a student has no fasting. A student can eat his fill. The scriptures do not tell a student to fast. A student might not have enough to eat, so he begs for alms and he has that right. That is why if he does not go to a house for alms, no, there is a saying that he lived by doing weekly rounds. In student days, they would ask for a day, saying, I am not wealthy, I will eat at your house on Sunday, I will eat at your house on Monday, and at your house on Tuesday. In the past, families would provide a meal for one day to such poor children who were studying. Being called a weekly boy is not a small thing. A householder exists to support such a person so they can study. He is giving food so the boy can study. If he just eats that and stops studying, then you do not even have to feed him. He is studying now, and after he is well educated, he has become a householder. Now, after becoming a householder, he must earn wealth. That is his duty. He should take the betel leaf his wife gives him. That is his duty. He should sleep with his wife. That is his duty. And have children. That is his duty. He should wish for his whole family to prosper. That is his duty. You should not take shallow philosophy and preach it in homes. If you start experimenting with the duties of monks in ordinary households, then families will just be destroyed. When a monk teaches, he should only teach duties that are useful to a householder. He should not preach his own duties to them, or he will be violating his own duty. Whenever Paramacharya Swami spoke in a gathering, he spoke about the duties of a householder. He was a monk. Did he not know? Why speak like that? If everyone in the gathering are householders, and if I give lectures on the duties of monks for 2 hours a day for a week and leave, and if you take them to heart and your families are ruined, who is responsible for that? If you think that is duty. The scriptures do not accept living like a monk while being in the householder stage. The scripture does not accept living as a celibate while being in the householder stage. The scripture does not accept living like a householder while being a celibate. You must keep performing the duties appropriate to whichever stage of life you are in. Doing so is why dharma means that duty itself becomes dharma. The duty prescribed by the scriptures is called dharma, and the quality that is expressed is called daya in the scriptures. Suppose I have compassion for all beings. The sign that I have this compassion is, even if it is just a crow that has fallen down due to an electric shock from some power lines, for whatever reason, saying, oh no, I sprinkle water and quickly bring it home, feed it some grains or something, and once I feel it is fine and has recovered, suppose I take that crow and release it. Then that quality within me called compassion for all beings, when it is expressed practically, that is daya. But if I say I know everything and we should respect all creatures and then hit everyone I see, that is not what kindness is. Kindness is only real when it is expressed. It is that which is manifested. Expressed and practiced, it is called compassion for all beings. When he said, perform actions while established in yoga, at that very next moment, the command was only to perform Vedic rituals and actions. It does not mean you do as you please. You did things your own way, and they might have felt good at the time, but later on, those same things will become the cause of your sorrow. Something you did at a certain age might make you happy. Back then, you might feel like you did a very good job. But after a certain age passes, that same action becomes very painful. Take King Dasharatha, for example. He went hunting as he pleased, deviating from the path of dharma. He felt good when he was hunting. In the deep darkness, he shot an arrow towards a sound, and it hit a sage's son. The sage cast a curse on him. He said, just as I am dying while crying out for my son, you too will die while crying out for your son. పెద్ద పెద్ద యాగాలు చేశారు. Dasharatha was actually happy. He thought, many in our lineage struggled without children. They had no sons, and they performed great rituals just to have sons. This man is saying, I will die crying for my son. So it means I will have a son, and he was happy. He told Kausalya about it. At that age, the curse felt like a blessing. But on the day he really had to die, leaving his son, on the day he had to die crying, Rama, Rama, I am remembering that sage's curse now, Kausalya. I thought something else back then. Now that I am experiencing it today, I realize just how painful this is. The scriptures even tell you which stage of life you should embrace, At one point, you might think celibacy is great and decide to stay unmarried, and it feels fine for a while, right? But once you turn 50, when you realize the loss of not being married, then no matter what you are doing in life, and no matter how many people are happy around you, you alone will remain restless. It is like a burning lamp that gives light to everyone around it, but is itself slowly melting away. Is not it? Every stage has its time. Study well during celibacy. In the householder stage, you must love your wife and children. You should pray for the well-being of your wife and kids. There is something called shallow philosophy. People live in families, and yet they say, what are these attachments? If that is how you feel, then just wear saffron robes and leave. You should not talk like that. If you are in the householder stage, you must study the scriptures very deeply. While studying the scriptures, you should develop detachment. You should realize, oh, this is how things go. This is God's grace. This is the play of life. But Vyasa gave his verdict in the Devi Bhagavatam that after seeing your children and grandchildren, you must enter the Vanaprastha stage. Conquer the 6 inner enemies through penance. Entrusting your wife to your son. If you say you want to stay in family life as you please and talk about detachment, that is just shallow philosophy. It only shows your lack of maturity. You cannot just behave however you want. And you cannot just take whoever you like as your role model. That is not how it works. Since you are in the householder stage of life, your role model for life should be another householder. Instead, if you say you will take some monk as your role model and try to follow them, it just will not work. How can you even imitate them? Tell me, Sarena Praveshan Lil. The scriptures do not accept that at all. Those are just confused lives. They are meaningless lives. They do not know the scriptures. They have no proper initiation into them. They have not studied the right books, and they have not learned lessons from a proper guru. Because they have not learned properly, they ruin themselves and they ruin their families too. They live in the householder stage like meaningless monks. I feel absolute disgust when I see people like that. It is terrible. It should not be like that. No matter which stage of life you are in, it should not be like that. A celibate should be a celibate. A householder should be a householder. A vanaprastha should be a vanaprastha. And a sannyasi should be a sannyasi. But if you take one ashrama and mix it with another ashrama, it looks absolutely disgusting. You have taken sannyasa, so go and sit outside the village. Sit in the hollow of a tree or sit in a graveyard. Why do you need an RCC building for yourself? Then you should not ask anymore. If you cannot leave anything behind, why wear saffron? If you can leave everything behind, then wear saffron. If you have everything, study the scriptures and are gradually learning how to let go of things. Then stay as a householder. There is nothing wrong with that. Store things up. Keep all the supplies you need for the next month right there at home. Store them and cook for yourself. The householder stage allows this. You eat and you feed others. The amazing thing is, you can find salvation in any ashrama. Whoever performs the duties prescribed for their particular ashrama will be saved. There are those who found salvation as a brahmachari. Even at that young age, there are people in this world who attained brahmajnana and left their bodies at that very age, finding salvation. If you compare them with those who have attained salvation as householders, there are actually not as many people from other stages of life who have attained it as householders have. So many householders attained it. Was Vasistha not a householder? Was Agastya not a householder? Was Eti not a householder? Why go that far for Sri Ramanavami tomorrow? Were Sita and Rama not householders? Were Parvati and Parameshwara not householders? Were Brahma and Saraswati not householders? Or do you lack role models? Did they all not attain salvation while being householders? Did Tyagaraja Swami not make his life fruitful in the stage of a householder? Did Annamacharya Swami not make his life fruitful? Did Purandara Das not make it fruitful? Did Kshatraya not make it fruitful? Did all these people attain it only by avoiding marriage? Did they attain it only by changing their clothes? If you change within, that is enough to attain it. The scripture tells us the required change is not in the outer clothes, the required change is within. Once that change comes within, you will attain it wherever you are. If you just learn how to be where you are, you can truly attain salvation. Otherwise, unnecessary confusion arises in the ashrams. So, understand the word ashram correctly. Ashram means a stage of human life. You must note that I am not interpreting ashram in any other way. So, Brahmacharya is an ashram. What should you do in Brahmacharya? It is not just your will. You cannot do as you please. You must do what the Veda says. As a householder, you must be as the Veda says a householder should be. But being a householder, you cannot imitate another ashram. You are a vanaprastha. You must be as the Veda says a vanaprastha should be. You are a sannyasi. You should be as the Veda says a sannyasi should be. If you can be like that, you will attain salvation in any ashram. That is why you must grasp this carefully. These 4 ashrams cannot escape this word called dharma. A brahmachari cannot escape from dharma. He must fit into that framework. A householder cannot escape from dharma. He must fit into that framework. A vanaprastha cannot escape his duty. He must fit the frame. A sannyasi cannot escape his duty. He must fit the frame. If you can live like that, you will flourish in any stage of life. That is all. Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Mahaswami was a great soul, worthy of morning remembrance. Just saying his name is enough to destroy all of one's sins. He took up sannyasa at the young age of 13. He lived for 100 years exactly as the duty of a sannyasi should be, following it perfectly. Because he lived like that, even after he left his body, when his physical remains were placed there for all to see, the way people went to see him when he was alive, they went to see his physical body in that very same way. No one went wearing a shirt or a vest. When they saw Paramacharya's body, they took them off. That is proof of the dharma he held throughout his life. Do you have any idea where a person's fame comes from? Or their progress, their prestige, their own sense of peace and the tranquility they are able to bring to other people? They come from the dharma he held onto so firmly. So, a monk holds onto the monastic code. Paramacharya never ever got into a vehicle. Not even once in his entire life did he ride in one. He only traveled by foot. That is what the monastic code says. And he held on to it like that. He attained liberation that way, becoming a great soul and an inspiration to the world. He never told all of you that you should also walk like this. He walked because it was a monk's duty. He said, just as I am deeply committed to my duty, you should be just as committed to your own duty. After sitting by a haystack and talking until 2 in the morning, as he was getting up for his rituals at the age of 90, a woman came and asked something, bringing her child along and sharing all her troubles. As she was talking, the ashram secretary got annoyed. He said, it is almost 3 in the morning, ma'am. He has not slept. He's been answering religious doubts until now. It is 3 a.m., ma'am. He's going for his bath and even now you have doubts. He said, just go inside once and bring the sacred ash that is near Lord Chandramuliswara. By the time he went and brought it, he finished talking to her, comforted her in her grief, put the ash in her hand, sent her off and said, the day I took sannyasa, that very day I decided that I am not this body. So, if this body falls while spreading dharma, it is not wrong for a monk. But a householder should not do that. He must sustain this body. Why is that? He must keep trying. A householder should respect this body because it is the tool for him to perform his dharma. If he is not in this, what will happen to his wife? If he is not in this, what will happen to the children? Vyasa himself said, when your dharma is complete after accepting the householder's life, you must see your grandson. You must stay until your son has a son. Until then, you should study the scriptures well. And if you then attain complete detachment, then you can conquer the 6 enemies through penance. Even then, it will not do. must do penance. You must conquer the 6 enemies. Anger should not come anymore. You must conquer all that. Lust should not exist. You must conquer all that. Greed should not exist. You must conquer all that. Now, after conquering all that, if you feel that in this body, just as it hangs in a dried up coconut, if you remain as the soul and this body hangs like a hollow shell, and if you can no longer remain like that, then you should renounce. Even then, the wife must give her permission. If the wife does not permit it, then he must take her and hand her over to their son. After handing her over to the son and saying, hey son, take good care of your mother, only then should he take up sannyasa. Otherwise, the scriptures do not say to take sannyasa as you please, and Vyasa did not say that either. Bharyan putre nivesya cha. He said to take the wife, hand her over to the sons, and only then take up sannyasa. Actually, there are some who took sannyasa without ever entering the householder stage. There are some great souls like that, such as Shankara Bhagavatpada and Paramacharya Swamiji. There are great men like the Sringeri Pethadipati Chandrasekhara Bharati Swamiji who are like that. So, I will not touch upon that subject at all. Since it is irrelevant to me, I will not touch upon those matters at all. But I am talking about the system as it usually exists. If you abandon that dharma, there is no question of attaining salvation at all. Not at all. Dharma itself means commitment. Dharma itself means rule. Dharma itself means a procedure that you must follow. If there is no rule, no obedience, and no procedure at all, then tell me, how will you be redeemed? What is the way to be redeemed? If I say, I will not give you books, you do not need to go to school, you do not need to study, you do not need to do anything, but you have passed your BA. Will you be one? Will you pass BA only if you are made to study in the way required to pass BA? If I say, son, you do not need any rules, son, you do not need to read any books, son, you do not need to go for any exam, just put BA next to your name, will they call you a BA? They will arrest you. There is no such thing as no rules in the scriptures. There is no such thing as no rules, no procedure, doing as you please in Vedanta. That point is very clear in Vedanta. We do not have the authority to twist it and say otherwise. You asked me to speak on the Bhagavad Gita, right? You need to recognize that I am speaking the Bhagavad Gita. So, Yogastha Guru Karmani. Hold on to whatever dharma you should follow as a celibate. Hold on to what you should as a householder. I will not become a householder, sir. That is wrong. You should not be like that. I will tell you the story of Jaratkaru and why you will be ruined. I just told you when I spoke about the Mahabharata Adiparva the other day. You must change. The scriptures speak of holding on and letting go. You must know how to hold on to things and you must know how to let go. If you do not hold on where you should, it is useless. And if you do not let go where you should, it is also useless. When a milk pot is very hot, you must hold it with a pair of tongs. Even after pouring the milk into the decoction, if you say it feels so good to hold it like this and keep holding the tongs, then that pot of milk will be of no use to you at all. You must let go of the tongs. Only if you hold the tongs and then let go, will they be useful for you to take the hot pot down. If tongs do not let go of what they have gripped once, you see, then they are no longer tongs. Even if the name is Patakara, it means a tool that grips and then releases. If you say, I will remain in celibacy, sir, without getting married, if you look at the lives of those who stayed that way, you will see they were ruined. And those who gave birth to them were ruined as well. Was Jaratkaru not ruined? Even a man as great as Bhishmacharya wept because of that. Because he had no son. Because he had no offspring to carry on. Therefore, you must give up celibacy. You held on to it for a while. But now you must let it go and enter the householder stage of life. That is the real meaning of the words Kuru Karmani. Live your life just as the Veda has prescribed. If you can learn to live like that, if you are actually capable of accepting the Veda as the ultimate authority, this is the message Adi Shankara gave to the whole world as he was concluding his incarnation. Vedo nityamadheyatam tadutam karma swanushtayatam. Study the Veda every single day. Do what is said in the Veda. But I have not studied the Veda, sir. I do not have the capability required to study the Veda, sir. So what now? Do not worry. Read the Smriti. Everything the Veda says about what to do and how to do it is there in the Smritis. Gautama Smriti, Atri Smriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Manu Smriti. They are named after sages. Parashara Smriti. Read the Smriti. But I do not know the Smriti either, sir. Read the Puranas. If you cannot read them, then listen to them when they are being told. Whatever is said in the Vedas and Puranas, they show it to you through a magnifying glass. My boy, you should not remain a celibate forever. You must stay a celibate for a while and then you must become a householder. The scriptures do not allow you to remain a celibate for any reason at all. You must definitely become a householder. If you do not do that, even your ancestors will suffer because of it. What is the belief? What is said in the Vedas is shown through a magnifying glass in the Mahabharata's Adi Parva as the story of Jarat Karu. The Devi Bhagavatam also tells it as the story of Jarat Karu. Now, whether you listen to the Puranas or read them, you will know exactly what the Vedas have said. Once you know that, you will immediately understand that this is how things should be. Even if you hear it as a story from the Puranas, what you receive is the Veda itself. Even as Smriti, what you receive is the Veda. If you study the Vedas, it is the same. Sir, I have not even heard the Puranas. Lord Krishna himself said, whatever a great man does, live your life just like how all these educated people are living theirs. Take them as your role models in this world. Live your life just as they are living theirs. And if you ever have any doubt, go to them and ask. Ask them, sir, how exactly should I conduct myself in this matter? And learn to live as they tell you to. Then you will be redeemed. But if you set all this aside and say, what I say is the final word, and live like that. When it comes to the way we live, God has given us intellect. So He gives us complete freedom. He will not step in and say, hey boy, you are not living as I told you to, so I am going to take your life away. Now you must remember one thing. I once decided that I wanted to go to Kashi. If I want to go to Kashi, I might board the Gautami Express, get off at Vijayawada, and then board the Ganga Kaveri Express there. Once I am on board, after traveling for a day or so, I would get off at the city of Kashi. Now someone else might think, he is reaching Kashi only because he is moving. Whether he takes the Gautami Express or the Ganga Kaveri Express, I will also keep moving. Why will I not reach the city of Kashi? Thinking so. He started his journey at the very same time I left my home. And he has been moving constantly until the moment I got off in Kashi. He sat on the swing. Now, until I reached Kashi, he kept swinging on that swing. Can you say that he is not moving? He drank coffee, just like I drank coffee while sitting on the train. Just as I would sleep, if I found a seat on the train, he carefully held onto the swing rope and slept. He swung on the swing for 2 days, and I traveled on the train for 2 days. I got off at Kashi, but where will he get off? He will get off right where he is. So, what happened to the 2-day journey? The journey of life is like your journey on a swing. Where will you get off in Kashi? Whoever has chosen the right means to go to Kashi will reach Kashi. Whoever has performed righteous deeds will be redeemed in their lives. Why would an action performed by abandoning righteousness lead to redemption? It just remains as an action. That is why he said, yoga is skill in action. The Lord of the Gita defined it 3 times. He said, yoga is excellence in action. Yoga means equanimity, having a sense of being equal in all things that happen. That which unites is yoga. Many things becoming one is what yoga is. That is the meaning of the word yoga. And that is why it is the yoga of Arjuna's dejection. No matter how it starts, the Gita begins with just one phrase, Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Dharma is what it is. No matter how many verses I say, how many chapters I explain, or how much I struggle, everything I say boils down to just 2 words, Dharma. If you can just digest these 2 syllables, my boy, if you understand what you must do, you will understand the mistake you made. After saying all this to make him understand, he asked, what did you understand? He did not say, I understood this from what you said, or I understood that from what you said, or this is what I got. After understanding everything you said, he said, my delusion is gone, my ignorance is gone. So what happens if you listen to the Gita? What happens if you take the Gita as your guide? You will become Arjuna. You will understand exactly what your duty is. On the day you do what your duty requires of you, you will become worthy of worship. If you just do the righteous work that you are supposed to do, that is it, you will be liberated. Now, where exactly is his proposition in all of this? Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktava dhananjaya. This is a very, very big statement. If you want to take a step towards salvation, there is no fault in doing karma. You must do it. You cannot exist without doing karma. But do not desire the fruits of your karma. Just keep doing your karma. You cannot be without doing karma, so do not be. The idea that I will just stay without doing any karma at all is not acceptable. I will not do any work, sir. That is not possible. Let me tell you one thing about this. Should a Brahmin perform Sandhya Vandanam as soon as he wakes up? If you ask me, a Brahmin should sit cross-legged and meditate on God. I would say it is a great sin to just sit like that and call it meditation. That is wrong. The Veda is your authority. The Veda did not tell you to just sit like that and meditate. It told you to bathe and perform Sandhya Vandanam. Is the Veda your authority or is what someone else said? Whoever said it, it is wrong. Whatever the Veda said, that is the authority. That is all. As soon as you wake up, you must go bathe and perform Sandhya Vandanam. If you were not born as someone who performs Sandhya Vandanam, there is no objection at all. Just the other day at the Ayappa Swami temple, I took that text from the Sanda Purana, made photocopies, and even gave them to some people. You do not have to offer argyam, but the Shastra did not tell you to stop doing that karma. You should bathe immediately, for the eye of the world, the great one, is the visible God. Vasarpatiyo nilalohita utainam gopa adrushannu drushannu daharya, says the Yajur Veda every morning. There, the great one, Parameshwara, has arrived right on time as the only supreme Brahman visible to this eye. Krutagnagnaya devaya jyotisham pataye namaha. Whoever does not do what must be done by the time he arrives, he is ungrateful. Whatever must be done, do it at the right time. That is why in the Sundarakanda of Sri Ramayana, Mainaka says something. He says, Kartavyamukrutam karyam satam manyumidherayat. Even great souls get angry. Do you know why they get angry? They feel disgusted when they see someone who does not do what needs to be done at the right time. You must do what needs to be done when it is meant to be. Doing something meant for one time, another time is also wrong. There is dharma for time, place and era. So you must do exactly what you are supposed to, when you are supposed to. That is it. When you wake up, you must perform Sandhya Vandanam. The moment you finish your bath, after waking up, you must chant a hymn to Lord Surya. He is the eye of the universe. That is why Hari Hara Brahma Mahanubhavambulokka Tingaga Garagina Gattiyanaga Atula Vadatrayalati Kachayamu Penubondan Puttadu Mulakandamanaga Akila Jagamula Kanderayaguchu Jana Samaja Karaputa Haraya Saroja Mulako Mukulanambunu Jumbanambunu Narchi. The solar disk shown upon the eastern mountain, said Tikanagaru. Harihara Brahma Mahanubhavambulokka Tingaga Garagina Gattiyanaga means if the creator, the sustainer and the destroyer all merged into one. With that red color, he became Lord Surya. To help you see the Supreme Being with your own eyes, he appears for a while like a red vermilion dot. You should wake up at that time. God has arrived, and it is a sin if you are not awake, right? You must wake up on time. Wake up because God himself has arrived. I should not stay asleep. Waking up means standing as one should stand. That is what I told you. What the Veda says is dharma. If you ask, can I not stand without bathing? Do you eat food in your toilet at home? Right? You eat where you are supposed to eat, right? Similarly, when standing before God, you must stand only after bathing. How can you stand before God, the embodiment of light, without external cleanliness? So, you must bathe and stand before him to offer your salutations. That is your primary duty. If you say you will skip this and do something else, it is your fate. It is like sitting on a swing and expecting to reach Kashi. The Veda has told you what you should do. This scripture is the authority. The Veda is the authority. It is not what I say or what you say. Even if it is me, it is wrong if I do not say what the Veda says. If I tell you what the Veda says and you feel bad about it, it is just your fate. Just remember, you have not yet gained the culture that is needed to listen. If you had it, you would accept that this is how it should be done. Just as Arjuna, who initially thought of doing wrong, listened and lost his delusion to gain great fame, you too will gain fame. So, equanimity is called yoga. Do your work. Do what the Vedas have told you to do. But do you know what to do while you are performing it? Remember just one thing. It is my duty to perform the action, so I must do it. But I should not expect that the result must come out in a particular way. Do not expect the result to come as surely as 2 times 2 equals 4. Karmanyavadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala hetarbhu. Mate sangustva karmani You must perform your work, but you should not expect any results from it. Do you know why I am saying this to you, Arjuna? Because if you get into the habit of asking for results immediately, you will just get crushed between likes and dislikes. Then what happens is, your actions become driven by desire, not by duty. Duty is different. But if you work with desire, it will lead you into bondage. If you do something great and say, this is a very big deal and I did it all by the grace of God, God will not say anything to you. He will say, yes, you did it. So I am giving you merit. Now you must come to experience it. If you do something wrong and admit it, you must come to experience that sin too. The result is the same for both. Instead, say, I just did my duty. I raised my daughter and I married her off to someone I believed was worthy of her. My duty is now done. I educated my son in such a way that he would be capable and fit for his studies. I performed a sacred thread ceremony, gave him the Brahmopadesam, and my duty was done. Oh, I never went about without performing Sandhya Vandanam in front of him. There was never a day when I went to sleep without doing it before his eyes. Whenever I had even the slightest chance to do Sandhya Vandanam, he saw me doing it. Now, if he stops doing it, I am not the one responsible. What more can I do? My age is increasing. My physical strength is declining, while his age is maturing and his strength is growing. Now, if I get into a conflict with him, if he gives me one push, I will fall down. Besides, that will only cause more worry. If I say, perform your duty, you might think my son is like that my son does not listen to me. If I do not say this, people might mistakenly think Koteswara Rao's son is like that and show unnecessary pity. By God's grace, my son is not like that. He is the kind of person who lives by believing in the scriptures, and he has a lot of respect for his father. So, you just go ahead and do your duty. Now, if I have to do this, it is my duty as a father. It is not just a responsibility, mind you, it is a duty. So, did I do my duty or not? You just keep on doing your duty. Exactly when you should, how much you should, and in what way you are supposed to do it. But if you say, I am doing this because it will give a result, then it just becomes a desire-driven action. The desire ends. The very next moment the desire ends, you fall into attachment once again. If I say, doing this pushes that away, hatred ends. You have separated again and fallen into another shadow of attachment. Whether it is attachment, hatred, virtue, sin, or the experience of pleasure or pain, they are all just bonds for you. Do you know what to do to transcend this state, Arjuna? To cross over with a pure mind and know the truth that the inner soul is who I am, to realize that I am not this body, you must start right here. You must begin with selfless action. Nishkama karma. You must keep doing your duty. You must do the work you are supposed to do. And remember, doing what you are supposed to do does not mean doing as you please, but doing as the Vedas say. While doing it, you should stop spending your life just seeking the benefits from it. Just let that go. Just start. It is not that easy. Even I, who is telling you this, cannot do it. If you ask me, Koteswara Rao Garu, you are saying all this, but if you go home or if you do not get your salary at the end of the month, would you just say, I did my duty and keep quiet if they did not pay you? Would you? If you ask if I can say that, I will say I cannot keep quiet. I will tell you the truth. But as Krishna said, Abhyasa yogena kaunteya, if you at least start doing it somewhere, if you just start